It's just been foggy and damp for days now. The dampness sticks to you and everything else. Welcome back, troops. Well, it's Fire It Up Friday, and as luck would have it, I've been sent a package from our friend Mad Dog Survival, and what he sent me is a standard package that he sells on his site containing 2 vials of potassium permanganate, which has many bushcraft and survival uses. And I'll just read what it says on the piece of paper inside there. And it says potassium permanganate times 2 vials. Has many bushcraft survival uses. This can be used in conjunction with glycol based liquid to cause a chemical reaction resulting in fire. It makes a great water purification aid and can be used as an antibacterial, antifungal first aid treatment to alleviate symptoms of athlete's foot, trench foot, mouth ulcers, etc. A great addition to any survival kit and first aid kit. Please see my videos and I'll leave a link in the description. But one of his recent videos was the use of this potassium permanganate, so I really urge you to see that. So I've opened it already, and there was inside 2 vials, and they were both full to the brim. I've been playing with this one already, and before I show you that, I'm just going to take this one out of its little package, with them both in this package, well packaged. Just make sure the top's on tight, which it is, and I'm going to put it in my everyday carry first aid kit. Which has grown, it's a small first aid kit. It has the essentials in it for really the dog, but also if I got caught out, it has some very useful items in it. We'll go into that at a later date, seeing as I have upgraded it. But for now, 1 potassium permanganate vial in there. And now I'll go on to show you, I've already done it, but I'll add this clip in now, on using this potassium permanganate in the standard fashion, and then I'll show you how I will use it. So all he sends is the potassium permanganate, which has the various uses as he described, but to make it useful as an ignition source you need another chemical which doesn't come in the package. You've got to source that yourself, but it's easy to get, and I believe that's what I've got here, which is glycerin, which you can get from the food department of the local supermarket. And for a flame, for ignition, it's a little bit windy, so hopefully it won't blow away. We got a little bit of the potassium permanganate. I'm going to put it down there. Oh, we've got a bit too much there. And then we simply squirt on the glycerin. Now it takes a while, so you have to be a little bit patient, but it will help if you agitate it a little, and there we go. Don't breathe in the fumes, and you get a very intense but short flame, and then you've got a glowing ember. So you've got to be quick with your tinder bundle. So what I would be tempted to do is actually put it in the tinder bundle itself. But this, and I will be igniting a tinder bundle with this, but not in this fashion. I'll show you that in a few moments time. Oh, I put a bit much in there. Now this glycerin has come from them vape tubes. Just give it a bit of time. Jiggle it about a bit if you want to hurry it up. It should burst into flames in a minute. There we go. So there we go. If you can't start a fire with that, and it is windy as well, you've got to take that into account. Anyway, we don't want to burn anything down, so I'll put that out now. But seeing that glowing coal you get there, I mean, if you wanted to, you could transfer that into a tinder bundle, just that glowing coal. If I break that open, it's red hot inside. Right, we're making a mess, so we'll tidy up. I won't put that in. I won't put that in with the potassium permanganate in case it leaks. Right then, so you've seen it been used the traditional method with glycerine or glycol based substance. But when I'm out and about, I've now got the potassium permanganate. I'm not likely to be carrying glycerine with me or have access to glycol. So we started 2 generous fires already with 1 vial, and I've still got not quite half a vial left. So a realistic way that I might start a fire when I'm out is not by using glycerine or glycol, but something that I would have with me, which is sugar for a brew kit. So I'm going to use the method using sugar, and that's possible. It just means adding a little more friction. So that just means putting a divot in a piece of wood and getting a little spindle that you can create some friction in that wood in the same way that you would use a hand drill, or a bow drill in fact, which is actually, this is my bow drill hearth and this is my bow drill spindle. Now I'm not making excuses, but everything is damp. I picked up some tinder recently. I generally do that when I'm walking along, just to start a fire when I get back. So I've got some tinder with me. So I'm going to try and get this tinder ignited, and I might need the aid of the sugar wrapper. So we'll just put that in there. We'll put the sugar in to start off with. I'll pour some. Will you stop messing about? I'll put the sugar wrapper in there. And we'll see if we can get this ignited. Now if our tinder bundle was adequate, we would have a fire there, no problem at all. Luckily I've got another sugar, and I've pulled a handkerchief out of my pocket, a paper handkerchief, so I'm just going to use that due to the fact I've got no really dry tinder. So we're just going to use these. Sugar in. Potassium permanganate, and a bit of pressure. And there we go, we've got flame. Okay, so we might be dragging on a bit now, but the last thing I want to cover is water sterilisation. Because if you think you might use it, then you should practice using it. So I've been out and got my mucky water, brought it back, and now we're going to sterilise it and drink it. Right, I've got the cleaner of the two bottles here, and that water is reasonably clean. If it wasn't that clean, you could always filter it a bit, but you just need a tiny amount of this. And I've cut a little spill here, little piece of stick, and I'm just going to get, you can always add more. Will you get down? Get down! Get out of it! Get out of it! You can always add more, but you just take the tiniest amount and pop it in. And you can see it there falling to the bottom. So we can put the lid on our potassium permanganate. Shake this up. And there's a light pink colour. Now let that stand, and you can see it's still not all dissolved yet, so just shake it up and let it stand for about half an hour. You rat bag, aren't you? Hey? You were. Now don't knock that over. That's our water supply. And while we're waiting for the that's actually a bit strong. That's actually a little bit strong, that. But I am going to drink a bit of that. I'll just let some more time pass. In the meantime, I'm putting on a brew. Safest way to sterilise your water is to boil it, but I will be testing that, and I'm just putting on a brew. Right, my water's boiling for a cup of coffee, but before I have a cup of coffee with boiled water, I must admit I have been testing this, so I've drunk a bit already. So this is the water with the slightly more than required potassium permanganate in it. So you do need to experiment, and you do need to add minuscule amounts and let it stand for half an hour. But when I drink this now, and this is the water from the pond, from the big puddle that led into the pond, and when I drink this now, it tastes perfectly okay. I mean, it tastes just like you'd expect water to taste, which is not of very much, but with a slight taste to it. But I can't tell you really whether that's the potassium permanganate or the fact it was dirty puddle water. Now this is probably a bit over strong. I've mentioned that, I think, slightly over strong. So you've got to try everything out for yourself. I'm doing things largely in the back garden here, so you would say these are perfect conditions. So you need to experiment in your perfect conditions, because when you're out in the field things will be twice as difficult, especially if you haven't practiced. Simple things are not that simple when you're under a bit of stress and have to deal with things. Right, I'm going to get me coffee because it's been a miserable 2 days just with fog and mist and temperature not below freezing, but it's the dampness in the air sucks the heat out of you. So that's on a rolling boil now, which of course is the best way to sterilise anything. So I'm going to get a cup of coffee, and then I'm actually gonna go indoors. Right, so that's it then. That's my Fire It Up Friday with potassium permanganate. And if you do get some from Mad Dog Survival, just be careful what you're doing. But especially, as you can see with the treating of the water, it's always good to keep one file for emergencies in your first aid kit, your everyday carry. Use the other one. Use it to practice with, to experiment with, and do your research. So until the next time then. Come on, out of there, you're going to start knocking stuff over or burning. You know, you're not having that, that's mine. That's what she's after. It's one of them big, one of them bones you get from the butchers, but they're good solid thick bones. So if I ever had the time, I'd make needles and arrowheads and things. We'll see. Anyway, the dog's already had it once.